Hi guys, today we're going to talk about providing context for your quotes. We also call these lead-in sentences because they're literally leading into your quote from the novel. They also provide context for your novel. We've taken notes on this before, so I just want to do a quick refresher. So these are the sentences that come before each quote from the novel in a body paragraph. You should have several sentences, approximately 2 to 3, before each quote, and these should be plot details that provide what we call context for your quote. Essentially, what it should do is briefly tell the audience of your paper what's happening in the book when that quote is used or stated, because we can't assume that the person reading your paper has read the book. If they haven't read the book, they're not going to understand the quote, and then they're not going to understand how that quote supports what you're trying to say in your paragraph and your thesis statement. So you're trying to make them, with your words, understand that section of the book, okay? So let's take a look at what this looks like. All right, so let's come over here to the sample graphic organizer. So earlier this week, you guys did your thesis statements, and then you did your topic sentences. Yesterday, you were supposed to find your quotes. And again, just a little refresher from yesterday, you want to find your quote from the research first. When we say research, that's the quote that's coming from the article that we read and annotated about symbolism and racism in To Kill a Mockingbird. So in this sample graphic organizer here, the quote I pulled from the research says, "The fire depicts the prejudice of the people of the county, saying that blacks and whites certainly are not the same." So this quote again is talking about what that fire symbolizes. The quote from the novel needs to match the quote from the research. So if the quote I pulled from the article is about fire, our quote from the novel also has to be about fire. It says, "Miss Maudie's tin roof quelled the flames. Roaring, the house collapsed. The fire gushed everywhere." So then I have this nice quote about the fire at Miss Maudie's house, and the quote from the article that we read and annotated in class is also about the fire. These need to match. Again, really important to find your quote from the research first, so that way your quote from the novel matches it. So what we need to do now is provide 2 to 3 sentences before the quote from the novel that helps someone who hasn't read the book understand what's happening. Okay? Whoops, sorry. This is going a little bit crazy here. So let me scroll back down for you. Okay, and so we need some lead in and context here. So it's going to come before the quote here, and I just need 2 to 3 sentences explaining what's happening in the scene in the book. So I can even literally start the sentence with, "In this scene," you can also use in this portion of the novel or in this scene in the book. So in this scene, Miss Maudie's house catches on fire. Would help if I could type today. And we would say something like, "All of the neighbors rush into the streets to see what is happening to her house. The men in the neighborhood run into her house to try and save her belongings before the house collapses." Okay, so here I have 3 pretty simple sentences, just setting up what's happening in the scene. So when somebody reads this quote, they know what's happening in the book. So this is where you should be at this point in the novel. You should be having your thesis and topic sentences done, have your quote from the novel and the research done, and then next is to write the lead-in context sentence for both quotes in each body paragraph. Thank you so much. Bye.